Hello and welcome to another week of Sambo iRacing. It's week 5, season 2, 2024. We are in the Ray Formula Ford FF1600 at Lime Rock Park for the classic layout. Those eagle-eyed viewers amongst you will have noticed I am now sporting a new livery for the Ray as well as the V. So I have checked. I need to say a big thank you to Ben Wright, one of my subscribers who has gone to the time, trouble and effort of actually putting these together, making them look fantastic, making them pop out with different paint finishes and stuff like that. So I'm eternally grateful, and Ben has won a couple of cars from doing that. So thank you, dollars on iRacing. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, thanks. What we do is we do a slide down lap from the cockpit, then we go full speed on the chase cam, and then we go back in the cockpit with the driving line on for the final full speed run through. Thanks for joining me. Let's jump into the cockpit. Okay, so usual things. We're in the cockpit. I've loaded up the test session from the Ray schedule. So you go to the Ray, you go to schedule, you can load a test session directly. That way you're going to get the right track conditions. Now, obviously with the Tempest system, every time we load in, we're going to have the wind coming from a different direction potentially. So I have got the weather widget on from Race Labs, details in the description. I do find it very useful because it does change your braking markers slightly, so just be aware of that. So I'm over on the left-hand side. I'm giving it the full beans, and what I'm looking for is the 2 marker on the left-hand side. So just as I get to the 2 marker on the left-hand side, what I'm going to do is brake, as always, in a straight line up to sort of, 3/4 pressure, that's 73%. And then I'm going to start trailing it off as I start looking for the apex. As always, I'm keeping a tiny bit of maintenance throttle on, keeping it in 3rd gear. Only when the revs drop down, as I clip the apex on the right-hand side, do I drop it down to 2nd gear. And again, keeping some maintenance throttle on, just keeping the momentum in the car. Really going for 90 degrees, turning over on the right-hand side here. When I need that extra rotation, I'm just letting off on the throttle very slightly, just balancing it through there. And then just before I do the final turn, and you see I go down to 0 throttle. Very briefly, that just kicks the back end out. And then I'm fully back on the throttle, taking a whole heap of curb on the right-hand side here. Get back over to the right-hand side as soon as possible. We go over this little lighter patch here. I like to rev it out in 2nd. I have tried it in 3rd. Maybe if you're following a car, you can get up to 3rd that little bit earlier. But certainly when I'm by myself, just keeping it in 2nd gear. Moving back over once I get to the right-hand side, looking for the apex. And again, there's no real braking marker here for you to be able to make it round turn 3, the left-hander. So revving it out. Once I'm sort of aiming back for the apex, I'm just going to do a little lift in 2nd gear. I'm going to briefly dab the brakes, not a huge amount. If you see only 20% there, again, that's not to slow me down. That's more to change the weight distribution, get the weight back over the front tires so that I can turn in. And again, I'm just going to be balancing between the brake and throttle to get round the corner. I'm keeping a little bit of maintenance throttle on in 2nd gear here. And again, you'll notice when I need that final bit of turn in to kick that back end out to the right-hand side, what I do is as I aim towards the apex, I'm just going to come off the throttle, down to 0 again, very briefly. We're talking microseconds here, just to get the rear kicking out, and that allows me to really point my car inside the apex, take a whole heap of curb, and then I get back on the throttle up to 100%. And as you can see, I've got I've got more than 90. I've got about 100 degrees of lock on here because I really want to get over to the left-hand side so I can make it round the right-hander turn 4 completely flat out. Now, I'm just going to show you that little bit again. Sometimes you have difficulty making it around this corner. So I'm moving over to the left-hand side, and what I want to do is I want to loosen up the rear a little bit. So if you see, I do a very brief Scandi flick. So I put a whole heap of right hand down and then straighten it out before then going back to right hand down again, clipping that apex there. That's just to kick the rear out to make sure that I make it around this corner flat out. Up to 3rd gear on the blue line. We get over to the left-hand side. There's no brake for this next corner for turn 5, the uphill. But what we're going to do is once we get over onto the rumble strip, just going to give it a lift, down to about, what, 30% is that? Making sure that I'm taking a whole heap of curb again here, and then building back up on the throttle as I'm getting to the curb, and as I come off it, I'm back up to 100%, as you can see here. We're now going to go, and we're going to go over this hill, and when we do, the front is going to get really light, so make sure that your wheels are pointing the right direction, otherwise you're going to spin. Lots of people do. I keep it in third here rather than changing up because I don't feel that there's any benefit, since we're going to get back on the brake in just a moment. So I'm in third, keep giving it the full beans, and this last big tree on the left hand side that I'm going past now. So as you can see here, there's one bigger tree and then they go smaller. As I get to that, that's when I just dab the brakes very briefly up to 44%. So not a great deal. Keeping a bit of maintenance throttle on. And again, what I'm wanting to do is just kiss this inside apex and then get back on the throttle nice and early. Let the car drift out to the left-hand side, up to fourth gear down the hill. Now, in races before now, I have taken this absolutely flat out in fourth gear. However, I could not make that work for me in this practice session for whatever reason. And it's not because of the wind, because the wind should be helping. So I end up doing a little lift around here, kissing the apex again, and then getting back on the throttle. And again, this is a tricky corner. In races, you'll see so many people slide off onto the grass, and then they'll hit the wall, and then they'll come flying straight back out. Now, occasionally they get lucky, and they bounce all the way into the pit lane. Occasionally, they'll hit you. So just be aware of them. And over and across the line, as you can see, I've changed my widget now, so the bottom right-hand side of your screen is where you can see the last time that I did. So, dry conditions in the Ray Formula 1600, and it's a 53.855. Make sure you reverse park nicely and have a sandwich. Right, chase cam, full speed. So here we are in chase cam, full speed, looking for the 2. Little brake, maintenance throttle, down to second, feathering it round, taking some curb, revving it out, little brake here, again just maintaining some throttle, getting it turned around, little Scandi flick, doesn't look anything, up to third. Now we're just going to do a lift going into the T5, taking a whole heap of curb here, over the hill, gets loose, little brake, kiss the apex, back on the throttle, up to fourth gear. Little lift, get round the corner, don't go on the grass. And over and across the line. This is going to be a really good week of racing here. There's never a moment to sort of think or let up or chill out or anything like that. You're going to be racing with people wheel to wheel the whole time. It's going to be great fun. Right, final time from the cockpit with the driving line on. That's how you trail brake in the Ray. As always, thanks for watching. I've been Sambo iRacing, and I shall see you in the week. Cheers.